Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matt here with Tank Lawn Maintenance, coming at y'all again with another one. I'm sitting out here in the truck in my driveway, chilling. It is currently 10:05 p.m. Sunday evening, September 24th, 2023, year of our Lord. Normally, I would have been in the bed an hour ago. As most of you know, I'm a truck driver at my full-time job, and I have to wake up at 2 a.m., drive 2 or 3 hours to my first stop. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, I'm going to be off work from my full-time job. I actually have preparation and trial deposition for an upcoming trial, possibly a trial, may go to trial, don't know yet. Don't even know if there's been an offer made yet. But I was in a wreck. I don't know if I told y'all or not. I may or may not have told y'all, but I was in a wreck, an 18-wheeler wreck, about a year ago this time last year. A lady, I was doing 65 down US 1 in between Lyons and Baxley, Georgia, on US 1, and I was doing 65 miles an hour, about 10 miles over the speed limit. Not gonna lie, I was speeding about 10 miles over the speed limit, but a lady ran the stop sign at an intersection and just stopped. I mean, came to a dead stop in the middle of the intersection, and I was around 30 yards from her when she did that. Fully loaded 18-wheeler. Nothing I could do. If I'd have ran off the road, I'd have turned the truck over and either risked killing myself or somebody else. So I just mashed the brakes and held on. And luckily, the lady survived. She did suffer a broken neck, some broken ribs, and some head trauma, some brain bleeding, but she did survive. And as far as I know, she's okay. But you know, this has been a year ago. But they are suing the company that I work for full time, and I have deposition for that trial Wednesday. And Monday and Tuesday, the lawyer in Atlanta is wanting to prepare me for deposition. I've never been through anything like this before, don't really know what to expect. And I am in Evans, Georgia right now, and I've got to make a little more than a 2-hour hike to Atlanta first thing in the morning to be there at 9 o'clock a.m. Monday, Tuesday. Don't know what time the deposition is going to be Wednesday. But this really sucks. But I'm a firm believer in that everything happens for a reason, and I am putting this in God's hands. I'm not going to stress about it. My wife is upset. I'm upset about the whole situation. My wife's upset about the... I thought my neighbor was looking at me through his window, through his upstairs window, but he's not. It was just a silhouette of something else up there. But my wife's upset. I'm irritated, you know, but we're not going to let it bother us. We're not going to let it stop us from our mission. You know, we're on a speeding freight train headed straight towards going full-time in my business, and I am not going to let this minor hiccup stop me. My supervisor contacted me today, or he texted me, and he said, so you need to be off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? And I said, yes, sir. He said, so you working Thursday and Friday? I said, no, sir, just Thursday. I said, if you got to take a sick day from me for Friday, then, you know, so be it. It is what it is. But I've worked way too hard to build my business up to what it is at this point to let this one little mistake stop me. And he said, okay, man, we good. I said, all right. But anyway, got that first thing in the morning. First thing Tuesday morning and first thing Wednesday morning. And I don't know how long this kind of stuff takes. Hopefully it'll just be a couple hours so I can get on back down here to Augusta. Hook up the trailer and get on down the road and get some stuff done. Because I have lawns every day this week. And I have contacted all of my customers and let them know what was going on, that there may be a possibility of me having to work Monday or Friday and Saturday all day from sun up to sundown to get caught up, and may have to push some things in the next week. And they're all fine with it. They understand. They know this isn't my fault. But anyway, I picked up another lawn yesterday, another property. I was doing a new property in a subdivision on the other side of Evans from me. And while I was, funny story, man, I pulled into this neighborhood. I actually pulled onto the road that I was, that had the property on that I was about to service. And this guy walked out on his front porch. I just happened to look at him when he walked out his front door. And we made eye contact, which was kind of weird. You know, that's something that doesn't normally happen when somebody walks out there. For me, when I'm riding down the road, I don't normally make eye contact with somebody as they're walking out their front door. But we made eye contact. There were two landscapers on the two properties right next door to each other, right across the street from his house. This man literally chased me down to the property that was down the street from him. I got out. When I get to a property, I don't mess around. I don't fool around on my phone or drinking water or Gatorade or anything. I do all that. Anything that has to be done like that, I do all that while I'm on the way to and from properties. And got out the truck, jumped to the back, got my hedge trimmer out, and as I was pulling the sheath off my hedge trimmer, the man stopped me and he was like, "Hey, mister, do you have a card?" I said, "I do." And he said, "I live right up there." I said, "Yeah, I know. We made eye contact when I passed by. It was kind of weird." He said, "I thought so too, man, but I wasn't gonna say nothing." And we kind of laughed it off. He said, "Well, listen, if you've got time," he said, "I know you probably can't do it today." He said, "But if you've got time when you get done with this property, can you at least swing by and check it out?" I said, I'll swing by there as soon as I get done. I'll do a quick glance over, make sure there ain't nothing crazy about the property. When I get home, I'll check it out on my CRM, look at the square footage, and I will shoot you an estimate." And I asked him, I said, "Are you military or law enforcement or teacher or anything like that?" And he said, "I'm retired military." I said, "All right, good. Cool." Got home, put everything in my system. Well, excuse me. As I was walking around his property, his next door neighbor walks up to me and he was like, "Hey man, I hate to ask you this," he said, "but do you have time to cut one more while you're in the neighborhood?" And I told him, I said, "Man, I don't like telling people no." I said, "But to be honest with you, I am behind right now." I said, "Some things happened earlier this week and I'm playing catch up, and I'm way behind." I said, "I've got a list I've got to complete, and I've already got 2 customers that's called me wanting to know why their lawn hasn't been cut." And he said, "Man, hey, listen, I understand completely, and I appreciate you being honest with me." And I said, "Well, listen," I said, are you needing full-time service, or you just need the one-time cut?" And he said, "Well, right now I just need my grass cut." He said, "But I may be interested in weekly or bi-weekly service." He said, "I'm getting to a point now where I just can't be pushing a lawnmower around the yard. I'm getting to that age." And he said, "My knees bother me, my elbows hurt like hell every day, and I'm just tired, and it's hot." And he said, "I just want to spend time with my wife. We want to be able to go on our vacations and not have to worry about the lawn." I said, "Well," I said, "I can do the same thing I just did right here." I said, "I can walk around, make sure there ain't nothing crazy about your yard, a whole bunch of trimming that's got to be done." I said, "When I get home, I'll put your address in my CRM, I'll check out the square footage, and I'll shoot you an estimate." I asked him the same thing. I said, "Are you military or law enforcement or teacher or anything like that?" And he said, "No, sir, I'm just retired." I said, "All right, man." I said, "Well," I gave him a card. I said, "Well, text me your name. Text the number that's on this card. Text me your name. And as soon as I get to the house, I'll put your information in my computer. I'll check you out, and I will shoot you a quote." He said, "Man, that sounds good. I really appreciate it." He said, "But just know this isn't no guarantee." He said, "I've got to run this by my wife first." He said, we don't make any kind of decisions like this on our own. We always check with each other before we make a decision like this." I said, "Man, I completely understand." And he told me, he said, well, would you be able to do it weekly if we were to take you on, I said, man, I can do every 7 days or every 14 days. I said, nothing no more than 14. And he said, man, that sounds good. And same way with the guy that I originally looked at. He said, man, I want this done every 7 days. I said, it sounds good, brother. So, picked up one loan. And when I was talking to the guy on the phone, told him his quote. And he said, man, I think that's a good price. He said, I really don't see why my wife would say no. He said, well, like I said, I'm not going to guarantee anything, but I'm going to talk to her. And he said, we also have several rental properties that we manage. And he said, you know, me and my son were the ones taking care of the properties. He said, like I told you, I just don't want to do it no more. He said, and I need a landscaper, somebody that can come out there and take care of them every week. And I said, man, hey, I said, just shoot me the addresses if you want it done, and I'll do the same thing that I did here. He said, man, it sounds good. He said, I really appreciate it, Matt. I said, no problem, man. So picked up one, potentially two, and possibly maybe picking up several more. And man, it's the middle of September. Grass is slowing down. People are still calling my phone, guys. But look, I get it, you know, it's right here about to be fall. Grass is slowing down. A lot of people that were cutting grass weekly are starting to go to bi-weekly. And some people that were doing bi-weekly already are starting to go to monthly cuts because grass is just slowing down. And, you know, I cut my grass today. I keep mine cut every week. I try to cut mine every 4 or 5 days because I really take a lot of pride in my property. But it just doesn't happen that way most of the time, so I normally get it done on Sundays. But I cut my grass today, and, you know, I'm starting to have patches in my lawn that are starting to turn yellow or white or brown or whatever you want to call it. And so grass is slowing down, and it is the middle of September, and people are still calling me, still wanting service, weekly, bi-weekly. You know, just because the summer is winding down, don't think, you know, if you're flirting with the idea of getting out there starting a business, there's no better time than the present. Just because things are slowing down, don't think that you can't go out there and make a ton of money. I mean, you got leaves that are coming up. I did my very first landscaping job in December. A lady called me because I posted a picture of my yard. I have 2 box elder maples that just dump leaves in November, right before Thanksgiving, and it's a bear. I mean, they're big trees, and they just dump leaves in my yard, and it covers my yard. And I mean, you've seen my trailer, my 10-foot trailer. It fills that trailer up twice with leaves. So I posted that picture on Facebook, on my Facebook, my business page. A lady about 5 minutes from where I live saw the picture. Somebody had shared the post. I think it might have been my aunt. She shared the post because she knew I was trying to start a business. I was wanting to get out here and work for myself. Didn't have anything, you know, just starting out fresh. Didn't even have no equipment hardly. And she shared my post. The lady saw it and she said, wow, that's a huge difference. And she called me and she said, listen, my yard is covered in leaves. I live right next to a creek, so you can imagine all the hardwoods that are around my house. My yard is covered with leaves. I need a weekly landscaper, and I need year-round service. She said, please come by my house and give me a quote. I misquoted it by about 6 hours worth of work. I charged her $250. You know, $250, truthfully, is a fair price for the property, but for the equipment that I had, it took me 8 hours. I lost a ton of money, but I gained a year-round customer, and I make between $3,000 and $4,000 a year off of that one customer, and with different things. I mean, grass, leaves, trees, bushes, bedding installation, pine straw, things like that. And so don't think that just because the summer is winding down that you can't get out here and start your business right now. And there's still people that's needing grass cut. If you live in an area like I do, where you have a military base close by, people are going to be moving in and out. You know, we've got a lot of things going on in the world, going on overseas. So military, you know, they're moving in and out of different places every day, and they're looking for people to cut their grass. They just don't have time to do it. It's not that they're lazy and don't want to do it. They just simply don't have time to do it. And a lot of people are getting deployed right now. They're needing somebody to take care of their lawn. You know, if you live in a high-end area that has a bunch of doctors and lawyers, or, you know, just a bunch of white-collar people that ain't cut out for yard work, or just simply don't like doing yard work and have the money to pay somebody, there's no time in the present. Because I'm going to tell you right now, me personally, I want my yard to be in tip-top shape 52 weeks out of 52 weeks every year. And I want it to look good no matter what, any time of the year, no matter what time of the year it is. And there's millions of other people out there just like me. So get out there. Quit thinking about starting your business. Quit watching videos like this. Quit watching setup videos. Get out there, hustle, make your money. Get your name out there. Start a Google account. Start a Facebook page. Cut your grass in your own yard. Trim your bushes. Take pictures of them, before and after pictures. Post them on social media. Make flyers. Do whatever you've got to do. Get that first customer. That is the hardest part, getting that first customer. Once you get that first customer, it's all downhill from there. Now, granted, I'm not full-time yet. I'm at the tail end of my second full season of lawn care, and it is a very high probability that I will be going full-time next year. I can't promise you that, but I probably will be. So quit being scared, quit being lazy. Get out there and go make that money. There's no time like the present, and do not get in your way. But anyway, guys, enough of that. I want to talk about two things, really. One, it's two completely different subjects here. One, you know, I bought that Toro recycler, the 22-inch recycler, not the personal paste, just a regular self-propelled 22-inch recycler. We'll talk about that for a minute. I mainly use that on my property because, you know, in my opinion, a 21, 22, or 30-inch push mower is going to leave a better cut unless you're dealing with something like a walker or something like that, you know. But it's just going to leave a better looking cut than a 36 or a 48, 52, or 61-inch zero-turn mower, a big heavy machine. And, you know, I take a lot of pride on my property, and I want my property to look good, so I push mow my property every week. And I bought that Toro recycler because the old Troy-Bilt that I had, the 21-inch Troy-Bilt that I had, it finally gave up the ghost on me, or near about it. I gave it away before it did give up the ghost. I figured somebody could get some use out of it for the rest of the year at least. Somebody that didn't really have the funds to go out and buy a push mower yet. So I just figured I'd put it on Curb Alert and give it away to whoever needed it. But I bought that machine. I didn't know what to think about it at first, and it took me about 2 weeks to get used to it, to get used to the deck height, the controls on it, and just all of that. There are some cons to it, but in my opinion, the pros far outweigh the cons. You know, I've had multiple push mowers over the years. I'm 39 years old, and I've had multiple push mowers over the years. I think my very first push mower was a Boland's that my mom and dad bought me when I was probably 21, 22 years old. And that thing was trash. I mean, it got the job done. Luckily, I didn't live in an HOA neighborhood or my neighbors would have been fussing and raising sand. I actually lived out in the country, and all I needed to do was just cut grass right around the house just to keep snakes off of the porch. But we've owned different things over the years. You know, we had that Bollins, we had Craftsman, we had Honda, we had Troy-Bilt, I mean, you name it, Murray, you name it. We've had all kinds of stuff. I think the only thing I've never owned is an electric lawnmower. And I don't plan on going electric no time soon unless I'm just forced to do that. But there's something about that Toro recycler, man. You know, it's got the air ports in the deck where it pulls grass up, like the airflow in it, where it just pulls the grass blades up, and then that blade comes through and slices it off, and it just leaves the cleanest cut. But as it's cutting, it's continuing to pull those blades up, even what you've already cut. And it is mulching those blades up into probably the finest mulch I have ever seen on any mower. And I've got a friend of mine that got one of those, it's a Toro Time Master. I think it's a Time Master. You got two different 30-inch Toro commercial, Toro push mowers. You've got the commercial mower, I think that's the Turf Master, and the residential mower is the Time Master, I do believe. But both very good mowers for what they are, just depending on what your application is, you know. And I thought that one was the best one I've seen. You know, it leaves a beautiful cut. I'm not taking nothing away from it. And then you've got the Honda mowers. Some of the Hondas, I don't know if all of them are like this, but they have like two blades on them where it just minces everything up to dust, basically. But it's just something about this Toro, man. You know, it's got a high lift mulching blade on it. It looks almost like a gator blade, but it's got kind of a downward pitch from the middle of the blade, where the edges of the blades kind of pitch downward, and it pulls that grass up, and that air is steadily circulating throughout the deck. It's steadily going out of the top of the deck, and it's steadily pulling up. So anything you're cutting, whether you're just mulching or whether you're bagging, you know, I bag my yard, but it is steadily mulching those grass blades up. And man, that Troy-Bilt I had, it had the exact same size bag as this Toro, but I would have to dump that bag 5 or 6 times on that Troy-Bilt. With this, man, I dumped it one time today. One time. And I didn't get to cut my grass last Sunday, so my grass was actually, by my standards, it was overgrown. It was probably, I don't know, 3.5, 3 3/4 inches high. I normally cut it right around 3 inches. I like my grass to stick up above the sidewalk, and we have pretty high sidewalks in my neighborhood. But it just leaves a beautiful cut, man. It's a residential mower. It's just something about that cut, man. I like those Toro recyclers. I'm very pleased with it. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I know today the belt for the transmission, what do you call it? It's not a personal pace. It's just regular self-propelled mower. But the belt came off of the pulley right there on the spindle that goes into the drive shaft. It came off of that pulley, and I didn't feel like fooling with it, so I just pushed it, just pushed it throughout the yard today. And even just pushing it, it's not a heavy mower at all. But anyway, man, I guess I guess I've got 2 cons so far that I don't like about it. You're not supposed to have to change the oil, but I'm gonna change the oil. I don't care what that box says. It says you no need to change oil. Yeah, I'm not buying into all that. Anything man-made will fail. I believe in maintaining equipment. But I was changing the oil today. I think I've probably used it 5 or 6 times on my property. and I've used it on two other properties. I got one that I use it on every week in their backyard, and there is one property, it holds a lot of water when it rains, and I'll use it on that property if it's soggy. If it's not soggy, I'll use my 36, but if it's soggy, I'll use that Toro. But so I went to go change the oil on it today for the first time, and the way I do it, there's not a plug underneath on the deck like you have on some mowers. You know, a lot of mowers don't have it, but some mowers do have a little drain plug under the deck, right by the blades and all that. You can just flip, you know, kind of jack it up a little bit, sit it on some blocks or something, and undo that drain plug and let it drain out. But the way I do it on just about every mower, push mower I've always just either pulled the oil line off, or just pulled the oil fill cap off and just tipped it over into a little container, you know. And that's pretty much the way I did it today. I would tip it over, and it's not the first time this has happened, but if you've got any gas in that mower at all, it's either going to flood that mower out, flood that engine out, the carburetor, or it's going to soak that air filter, and you're going to catch hell trying to start that thing. Now, it done it to me one time before, not while I was changing oil. I had the gas can, you know, it had been sitting on the trailer all day in 100-degree weather, so that gas can, it was blown up, looked like a basketball. And when I went to go put it in the mower, I mashed the trigger on it, and it just shot gas all over everything. I wasn't thinking, just shot gas everywhere, and it soaked that air filter. But I caught hell trying to crank it up then. But other than those two things, well, that and that one thing right there, as far as it's easy to flood out or clog up the air filter. But another thing is, I don't know what happened, but the deck is kind of cockeyed a little bit. It's kind of, if you look at it, and you can tell it by looking at the handlebars too, like the handlebars kind of warped. I don't know what happened, because when I first bought it and put it together, it wasn't like that. But I noticed one day when I got it off of the trailer, it was warped, or looked like it was warped. But I got to looking at it, the deck is level, the blades are like they're supposed to be. They're, I tried it in different positions. The blades are the same length or the same height off of the ground on both sides of the blade, so it's not messing up the cut quality. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is about that. I don't know why it's doing that, but I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. But other than that, guys, I have zero complaints about that Toro recycler, and there's no question about it. It is the absolute best push mower that I've ever owned. I've never owned a Honda. They say Honda's the best 21-inch push mower you're gonna buy, which you can't buy them now. They don't make them no more. But I've never owned a Honda, so I can't say that. Now, I do think that I'm gonna break down and buy the 30-inch commercial Toro, either that or the commercial 30 Exmark. But, and I'm saying that, man, because there's a lot of people in my area that want their yards push mowed. They don't want big machines on there, and the yards are small. I can get them done with a push mower in 20-30 minutes, still make a profit, max profit on it. But there's something about that Toro recycler, man. I love that thing. And I was just looking at my lawn today. I always cut my grass twice every time I cut it, because, and the reason I do that, man, is because I just want to make sure I get all the dead grass off of it. And I like to make sure I get all the leaves off of the grass. I mean, those maple trees are very brittle. They drop leaves all year long. They don't drop a lot of leaves all year long until the fall, but they do drop leaves and sticks, very small twigs. And I like to make sure I get all that off of my property, so I always cut it twice. And when I do, I'll either go horizontal and vertical with my yard, or I'll go diagonal, crisscross. I was looking at it today, man. I've got these beautiful diamond patterns and these lines in my yard. You know, other than the fact that my lawn is starting to go dormant, which really sucks. Normally, it's right around Halloween before it starts turning, or at least on my street. I ain't gonna say my area, but my street, the way the sun is, it's normally right around Halloween before it starts turning. But at Toro Recycler, man, I like it. I like it a lot. But anyway, guys, that's enough about a residential push mower. I want to tell y'all a story, man. This story was inspired by Mike Gibson over at Gibson's Lawn Service. I don't know if y'all ever watch his channel or not, and I suggest checking him out. He's a cool guy, Christian man. But I will say this, you know, if you're easily offended, don't watch it, because he does speak a lot of truth, but he does it in a joking way. A lot of his videos are meant to be funny, but if it steps on your toes, then there's a reason for that. And I think that's the way he means it. I've actually spoke to him through text personally. He seems like a real down-to-earth guy, and he really wants to help people do better in their business and in life, you know. But a video I saw him do, not, you know, just about an hour or two ago, I watched it. It made me think, you know, I still do it, but last year was my first full year in lawn care, and dude, I mispriced so many lawns. I lost so much money last year. I didn't have Yard Book to help me, a CRM, any kind of CRM. So I lost out on so much money when I was quoting and estimating yards in different jobs. And I remember one property in particular. It's a very high-end subdivision. It's an older subdivision, but it's a very high-end subdivision here in Evans. And if you're familiar with the CSRA, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say it, but it's Windmill Plantation. And there's some very nice houses and very nice properties in that subdivision. And you've got some middle-class properties in there, but there's, you know, most of the stuff in there is upper middle class or just complete high end, you know, white collar workers or very successful business owners, you know. But there was one lady, her husband founded a trucking company and has been very successful over the years. I think she told me he's owned this company for like 40 or 50 years. And multi-millionaire couple, you know. The house and the property together probably worth $2 million. I mean, just a beautiful place. And it's a big property. It took me about 2 hours to service that property. Now, like I told y'all Friday or Saturday maybe, on a 2-hour job for me, I should be making between 120 and 140 an hour, depending on how much aggravation I have to put up with. If it's a lot of uphill mowing, it's going to be higher. If it's a lot of trimming, it's going to be higher. Just different things like that. But I typically charge $65 an hour for a one-man crew. For a solo crew like myself, I typically charge $65 an hour. Now, I went out to this property last year. Lady called me out there. The property was a lot bigger than what I thought it was. You know, if you're looking at a wide open space, you can't tell it's as big as it really is until you actually put a mower on it and start working. Well, a woman called me out there and I told her $80. And she said, great, when can you start? I said, I'll be out here Monday. Well, she told me she wanted it done on Friday. I told her, I said, I can't do Fridays. I said, I'm already booked out on Fridays. And she said, well, can you do Saturdays? I said, I'm trying to avoid the work on Saturdays. I said, I don't have enough work to keep me busy. And I said, I'm not leaving my house for 1 yard on Saturday. She said, all right, well, I can deal with Monday. That way I can start the week out with a fresh yard. I said, all right, sounds good. I'll be out there. Well, I told her that I work a full-time job and that it would probably be around 5, 6 o'clock before I could get out there to do it. She didn't say nothing about it, you know. She seemed like that was okay. Got out there, it was actually about 5:15, 5:30 first time I mowed it. Starting around noon, she started texting me about every 30, 45 minutes. Where you at? When are you cutting my grass? I thought you were cutting my grass today. Finally, I texted her and said, look, I said, I told you I'd be out here between 5 and 6 o'clock. I said, I told you I have a full-time job, and yours was the first on the list as soon as I got off work. And she said, well, I need my grass cut as soon as possible. I said, yours is first on the list as soon as I get off from my full-time job. Never got no response. I didn't, at this point in my business, I felt like I was desperate, needed to get anything I could. Told her $80. Got out there, she never batted an eye at me, never said nothing to me. You could tell that she was one of those snooty ladies, had plenty of money and knew it, wasn't worried about nothing, had just been silver spoon fed her whole life from her parents and her husband, Well, time I put my mower on that property, I knew I had made a mistake. I was like, yeah, this property's going to take more than an hour. Well, finished up, went out there it was a bi-weekly property. I texted her Sunday evening, told her I was coming out there that following Monday. And she said, we don't need your services no more. My husband got his lawnmower fixed, and he decided he's going to take care of it. And I just, at the time, it really pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking to myself, son of a gun, you got to be kidding me. I just worked 2.5 hours, busted my tail on this property for $80 just to cut it one time. I just got played. I was mad, Well, this lady called me at the beginning of the summer. It wasn't even summer, it was spring, man. It was like the beginning of April, right around Masters Week. And that's when things really start taking off around here. It's Masters Week, because you got the Masters Golf Tournament. People are renting their houses out, trying to get their lawns taken care of. A lot of contracts are ending. People are looking for new contracts, just different things, So we call it, a lot of people call it the spring rush. It really starts hitting here right at the 1st of April. We call it the Masters Rush. Well, this lady called me out there. I want to say it was probably March 25th, somewhere between March 25th and March 30th. She called me out there, and I had forgotten some parts of the property. And she said, hey, Matt, this is such and such. I was just wanting to know if you had any room on your schedule. I really want to start going into bi-weekly service this year. My husband hurt his back and he just can't do it anymore, and I need bi-weekly service starting out, and then toward the middle of the summer I want to move into weekly service. Well, I nipped that in the bud right off the bat. I told her, I said, look, I said things have changed this year. I said I invested into a CRM. I said it helps me price properties. I said you're not going to have the same price that you did last year. I said I'll come out there to look at it, because I did forget what the property looked like. I said I'll come out there, check it out, make sure there ain't nothing crazy, a whole bunch of trimming or anything like that. And when I get home, I'll put it in my CRM, and I will email the quote to you. And she said, okay, sounds good. And she said, well, and we got to walking the property, talking this, that, and the other. And she proceeded to tell me about moving into weekly service towards the middle of the summer. And I just told the lady, I said, look, I said, if you're going to have weekly service, I said, we're going to start weekly service. I said, because once things starts popping off around here, I said, I'm not going to have time. I'm not going to be able to manipulate the schedule. I said, things get crazy. I said, you know how grass is in this area in the summertime. I said, once summertime gets here, it's going to be crazy. I'm not going to have time to manipulate it and to suit one customer's needs. I said, so if you're wanting weekly service, we need to start out with weekly service. If you want bi-weekly service, we'll start out with bi-weekly service. I said, but I just need to know that up front, and we can go as planned. And she said, well, I understand. We'll go ahead and start out with bi-weekly service, and if it gets to a point where it needs to be cut every week, she said, you know, if you can't do it, I guess I'll get out here and do it myself. I said, okay. So walked around the property, and I told her, I said, you know, you're not gonna get the same price as you did last year. I said, I lost a lot of money last year. I had to invest in a CRM to help me out, and it's gonna go up. I said, I don't know how much it's gonna go up, but it's gonna go up. And she said, well, I can understand you got to adjust your prices to keep from losing money. She said, but just know this, if you go up too much, you're not going to have any customers. Should have been a red flag. Well, I just kind of looked at her and grinned. I said, yeah, well, I said, nobody works to help other people out. I said, we all work to make a living. I said, helping people out is nice. Giving people good prices and being a good Samaritan is nice. I said, but I'm doing this to make money. I said, I'm not doing this to help people out. She said, oh, well, just keep that in mind. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'll text you shortly with your quote. Man, this price went from $80 to $139. And I'd never heard from that woman again. And you know, and Mike Gibson said it best. When you're the little man, people don't want to see you succeed. There are people out there that do not want to see you succeed. They want to see you stay at the bottom. They don't want to see you pull up their property in a new truck, new equipment, you know, new, nice, fresh uniform clothes or anything like that. They want you to pull up in a raggedy truck, old beat up push mower or lawn tractor or whatever. They don't want to see no Right Stander, no Walker, no Exmark or anything like that. They want to see an old raggedy Craftsman lawn tractor out there. They want you to be out there on their property 3 or 4 hours and you make 30 or 40 bucks. That's what they want. That's the way a lot of people look at us as landscapers. You know, I've had people refer to me as the lawn guy. I've had people refer to me as the grass cutter or the lawn boy, the grass boy. You know, at first it irritated me, and I would be quick to correct them. Like, look, I'm a lawn care provider or a landscaper. I said, I'm not the lawn guy. I'm not the lawn boy, not the grass cutter. I'm a lawn care provider, and I am a landscaper. I don't let it bother me no more. I just let it go in one ear and out the other, because this it's like any other profession, you know. They all carry a stigma. But just wanted to throw that story out there, man. I thought it was it kind of hit home for me when Mike was talking about that earlier. And but you know, every profession, every line of work has its pros and cons. You know, you could run a custodial business. You know, people call custodians janitors, or the cleaning guy, cleaning lady. They're custodians. It's a dirty job, nasty job. Somebody's got to do it, and you can make a flat out killing doing it. So the moral of the story on that is, don't look down on people just because of what they do for a living, okay? You look at a plumber, they deal with crap literally all day long. Them jokers they're putting anywhere from $50 to $80 an hour in their pockets, if they're a solo operator, you know. But you never know. You never know what somebody's doing. You never know about the man that's doing it. You never know what they're making doing it. So don't judge somebody just because of their profession, for one. And for two, don't let things like that bother you, man. You know what you're doing, obviously makes you happy, or you wouldn't be doing it. And you know what you can make doing what you're doing. So just take it with stride, take it on the chin, and just smile about it. But anyway, guys, remember what I said. It's the middle of September. Leaves are about to start falling. Cold air is about to be here. I'd say about another month we'll start seeing 30, 40 degree days. Man, don't let that stop you. There's still grass to be cut. There's leaves that need to be moved, removed, mulched up, blown away. There's debris, sticks, limbs. Trees need to be pruned. Pine straw needs to be installed. Mulch, rocks, it all needs to be put in. There's a lot that can be done. Sod can be installed. Bushes can be installed. There's so much work out here, guys. Don't let the time of year stop you. Get out there. Make your money. You control your destiny. But remember, put God first in everything you do. But hey, I'm going to hop off here. Hope y'all have a good week. Till the next one, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. Holla at y'all. Bye.